Hello everybody, and thank you for joining me. This is Ciara from Ciara T Designs, and today I have these two stunning Copic colored floral cards to share with you guys, so let's jump right in. So as usual, I am going to cut down my cardstock. I'm going to cut 4 pieces here because I need one that I can cut with the Hexagon dies, and then another that's going to act as the base that we're going to build those flowers on top of. So for the ones that are going to get cut up, they're just the regular 1/4 of a size from the actual page. And then the one that I'm planning to build on top of with the Hexagon pieces after we've cut it down, it will be cut to 1/4 of an inch smaller than the standard A2 size base, which is 4 1/4 by 5.5. Hopefully that makes sense. I know you guys will be shocked. There is no black mat in this card. I do that every once in a while, but for this one, I left it out because I thought that the flowers stood out on their own and didn't need it. So I've brought in this is one flower. I'm going to stamp it twice. And it is from the Tim Holtz French Garden stamp set. This stamp set is stunning. These flowers are beautiful. They're not the best necessarily for coloring the way I'm going to color them, just because they already have so much shadowing in them, but I'm going to make it work because I love these florals and I thought that they would be really pretty for this design. So I'm going to stamp 2, like I said, and I am stamping them in Amalgam ink. This is from Gina K. It is the black. I think it's Obsidian is the name. And I'm stamping it with this ink because this is a Copic safe ink, an alcohol marker safe ink. So that is the reason I'm specifically using this one. Obviously you could color this with anything, pencil crayons, watercolor pencils. Just make sure you're using the right paper and the right ink for that. So now we're going to jump right into the coloring. So I am going to show you the caps, but I'll walk you through the colors as well, just in case that's of interest to you. For the greens, I used YG63 and YG67. For such a small area like this, I didn't really feel like it needed more than the 2 colors. I know it's kind of hard to see because my hand is in the way as I color, but I am just adding a little bit of shading. But like I said, because these images already have such a dark area from where the ink stamps, you don't even really need much ink. So that's why I'm not even worried about the fact that I'm using the bullet nib on these. I have a mix of my Copics. Most of them are sketch. Some of them are original. It just kind of depends on what I got my hands on at the time. I've had my Copics for many, many, many years. But any alcohol ink marker would work for this. There are others on the market if that's your preference. It would be the similar idea. This is just what I own and what I prefer to use because it's what I own, but any would work. And like I said, use any medium you have. You could easily color this with multiple different styles of marker or, medium. So whatever you want to use, but I just thought this is a really pretty way to kind of create this design. So I've kind of colored all the leaves. I'm going to color the second one the exact same. The only part that's going to be different is the actual flower itself, and I will show you that when we get there. But for the leaves, they will be the same. The center of the flower is the same. The outside will be the same. It's literally just the petals that I will change. Now for the center of the flower, I went in with like a yellowy gold color. So I'm going in with Y35 and Y38. Again, because it's such a small area, I didn't really feel like I needed more than 2 colors. When I get into the petals, I will be using 4 colors, just because that's kind of my preference. You don't have to do that. It really is how you enjoy coloring. You could really do them in 1 shade if that was your preference. I just have a thing where I really like depth and dimension, so I tend towards using multiple colors. Now for the more purpley flower, this is my favorite purple blend. I'm going to use V12, V15, V17, and V09. And you're going to kind of see the V09 is actually the darkest color that I'm going to use. I'm going to use it for the deepest shadows. And this is just a 4-color blend that I enjoy. Again, you don't need 4 colors. You could leave off the V09 and you'd still get a fair amount of dimension. V17 is quite dark and it still gives you that. So keep that in mind. Use what you have. And of course, this is specific to the Copics. You would have to look at what shades you have in a different marker. I don't know any of them. These are pretty much the only ones I own, other than you guys know if you saw the cards I did at the beginning of the month. I used some Artex alcohol ink markers that they had sent to me in pastel. So, but other than those, Copics are all I own. So that is kind of just what I gravitate towards. But so you'd have to, do your blend differently. And you can generally, like if you're struggling picking your color blends, you can look online. I find if you Google, say pink Ohuhu alcohol ink blends or whatever your marker happens to be, generally you can find some good blends. So just keep that in mind if you're struggling to figure out which ones to pick for yourself. And then I kind of wanted to go in a vintage color. They both kind of read vintagey to me. So for my pink flower, I went with RV91, RV93, RV95, and RV99 as my darkest shade. And I tend to like to work lightest to darkest, so I will go with my lightest color, my mid-tone, my third tone, and then go in with my darkest just in the most shadowed area, and then I go back through again. So then I'll go my third marker, second marker, first marker. So hopefully that kind of makes sense. If it doesn't, leave me a comment, ask me any questions you have. I am more than happy to answer anything you guys ever have to ask. That's the point. My whole channel is to inspire you, or, maybe you don't like alcohol ink markers, but you love the idea of outlining something like I'm about to do. Or you love this flower and it's just a new stamp you haven't seen. So keep that in mind. You don't have to create the exact thing I'm creating. You can just be inspired by one aspect of it. And then I've hit my goal, because my whole channel is about inspiring you guys to create, because I do really think that it's good for you to create. I think it's good for the soul. I think it's good for the mind, so that is my intention. So anything that you take from this is a win, in my opinion. So I am going to go around. This is a technique that I don't even know where I originally came up with this. I think it was maybe Kelly Taylor a long time ago. She outlined something in blue, I think. Honestly, guys, I don't even remember. I see inspiration all over the place all the time, so sometimes I forget where it actually comes from. But this whole idea is that you go around something. In this case, it's my flower. And I'm going to start with my darkest gray. In this case, it's N4. Then I'm going to go in with my mid-tone. I'm only doing 3 tones for this, with my N2, and the outline gets a little bit bigger. And then I'm going to go with N0, and it gets a little bit bigger. And it just it adds depth and dimension in an interesting way, because we're going to cut this up with the Hexagon die. So it adds a little bit of something. Now, if you don't own any kind of I used gray because I really wanted it, and I used a neutral gray because I just really wanted it to be almost like a shadow effect, was what I was thinking. And so that's kind of where I'm going with this. But if you want to skip this step, you don't have to do this step. I just think it's a really fun way to add some interest. And like I said, this is the N0, which is the lightest color of this combination. And then I just go back around and add the shadow a little bit bigger. And it kind of just fades out. So the whole idea is you're kind of creating a shadowed ombre. And then it goes to the white paper, because when we cut this up, it's not here, it's super obvious you have that shadowing, right? But once you actually add it to the card after we've done all the hexagons, it doesn't necessarily catch your eye as a shadow instantaneously. And I think that's kind of a fun thing to add, because it's just interesting. So now I'm going to bring in my white gel pen. I like to add a little bit of highlighting. I think it gives a little more life to something. You could totally skip this step. Again, you don't have to do any of these steps. Ideally, you just get inspired by something, and you find an interesting new hobby, or maybe you've never thought of using something this way. That's kind of the idea I go for here. Now, I brought in the Hexagon dies from Tim Holtz. These are the stacking ones. I believe you get 5 of the stacking in this. It's the tiled ones. I used them back. Ooh, I don't even know when I made that video. I used them in an alcohol ink video, and I created a hexagon styled card front with alcohol inks. It was really pretty, actually. That card turned out beautiful. That card set, I made 3. And I used the smallest hexagon die when I did that. For this one, I've used the 3rd size. So there's 5 or 6 of sizes. This is the third from the smallest. So hopefully that kind of makes sense. And ideally you're trying to leave as little space between your cuts as possible. I have a little more on this purple one than I meant to, because this is the first time I've ever done this with an image. So I kind of, I'm learning as I go, because it's like, what are you doing? Oh, I don't freaking know. I'm just trying to make a card front, and I learn as I go. So with that, I would have ideally had the stem be an actual hexagon on its own instead of like half of a hexagon, because you're going to see here I had to cut it off the page, but you don't really want to lose the stem. So yeah, my pink rose turned out a little bit more like I was thinking, but they both turned out cool, and they're different, which is fun because I think that just makes the set look more interesting together. And then I'm going to bring in a sentiment. I'm going to stamp it in my Misti so that I can kind of have a good idea of how I want the layout of the card to be. You're going to see my head pop in here for a second. Sorry about that. It's just to make sure that it's actually straight. Just because I like to use the grid of the Misti to make sure that it's actually straight before I stamp anything down. And the sentiment is from the Simon Says Stamp Sunflower Fields. I will link it if it's still available. A lot of the sentiments I use are so interchangeable though. Like, use what you have that's kind of on the smaller side so it doesn't steal focus from the flower or whatever you've used your hexagon dies to cut up. In this case, of course, it's a flower. And then I've cleaned the stamp really well before I placed it back in the Misti to stamp it on the second one, because of course the layouts are completely different and then that kind of also makes it almost look like you've used a different flower, even though it's the exact same flower. So I thought that was kind of just a fun design. So hopefully you guys will give this a go. It is a little bit, I don't know if it's tedious is the right word. The removing of the pieces, I chose to use foam tape. You don't have to. You could easily do this and just, stick them down with a little bit of distance between them. I chose to use these little thin 3D foam squares instead to add a little bit of dimension. Because you guys know, I love dimension and texture. That is one of my favorite things about creating. So I do tend towards that, but there's no right or wrong. You can absolutely 100% do what works for you and what you have in your collection. So keep that in mind. And if you don't have the hexagons, use a different shape. I only own the hexagons in that tile series. I think I had to pause there because I might own one other one, but I think the hexagons is the only one I own. So if you have, I think he did hearts. I know he did circles. I think he did squares. Like, he did a whole bunch of stuff. If you're going to use one that can't nest together like this though, I would almost maybe just do one area. Like if you were going to do like a spotlight. So like stamp the flower, color in just the area that's going to get cut with the dies. And then I think that would look really cool. So keep that in mind as an idea as well. Maybe I'll do that for a future card. I don't think I've ever done the spotlight technique. That'd be kind of fun. I broke my reverse tweezers right here. I'm really sad about it. You guys know I use my reverse tweezers all the time. They're like my favorite tool. And the like really comforty grip thing broke off. And they're not great without it because you're just pushing on metal. It's not, I mean, you can still use them. They still function. It's just not as comfortable. So I was pretty bummed about that. I tried to glue it back on. It's already come off again. So we're going to see if I'm actually able to keep it fixed. But yeah, so sadly, I broke my reverse tweezers here. But I did use these 3D foam strips. You could use the larger ones. I have so many of the little ones. I just chose to use those ones. You could use, Big Mama foam tape. This is just what I had sitting on hand, easily accessible. There's no, there's so many things you could do here. If you don't want to pop up the flower, I would almost glue it flat and then pop up the panel instead. And I think that would still give you a really fun effect. So now I'm just going to trim down anything that's hanging off of it. I really want it to be kind of contained in that smaller panel that I've used. Because again, like I said, this is cut down to be about 1/4 of an inch smaller than my base. And then that just gives me a fun little white border all the way around. Again, just a little bit more texture and interest. You can skip that step. You don't have to, it could be the full size of a card front instead, if that's your preference. Really, it's just to get your creative mojo flowing is kind of my goal here. So however that works best for you. But I did really want it contained into that framed area. So I thought that looked really pretty. And again, I am a more is more style creator. So at this point, you could stop. These cards are done. They're beautiful. Like, you don't have to take any more steps here. However, because it is me, I am going to add some perfect pearls. I'm going to splatter just a little bit across the flower because I think it's pretty and because I can. So again, you can skip this step if that's not your thing. But I do love a little bit of subtle shimmer. So I have a lot of fun with that. And I am also going to bring in a couple of pearls just to finish off the card. You guys know I love elements. I love adding embellishments to stuff. It just makes me smile, makes me happy, and that is the whole point in creating. So hopefully you guys enjoyed these cards. They're a little bit different, but I think they turned out incredibly beautiful. So hopefully if you recreate them, let me know. I want to see. Anytime you recreate a card that I've made, I'd love to see. So you can always tag me on social media, or you can, join my Facebook group and share it. There's so many ways. Come and share. You can email it to me. I have people, because they don't use social media, email me cards that they've made that they were inspired by me for. So, I love to see what you're making. So this is the card set I have for you guys today. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you leave me a like, leave me a comment, and consider subscribing if you haven't already. I do new videos every Monday and Thursday. And I want to say a big thank you to my members. You guys are phenomenal. Your support is what keeps this channel going, and how I get to do this as an actual career. At least that's the attempt. So thank you guys so much, and I will see you again very soon. Bye-bye for now.